What's up, Islanders fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video here for Up the Turnpike, and I want to talk about a surprising player that was listed for the New York Islanders as a buyout candidate. That player, JG Pageau, and not that JG Pageau isn't someone that the Islanders could look to move on from. It's someone who I don't really think makes a whole lot of sense for them to buy out, and we'll get into why that is. So here first is what a buyout for JG Pageau would look like, as he has 2 years remaining at a $5 million cap hit. A buyout would save the New York Islanders $2.75 million this year and $2.25 over the next 2 years, and then they would get hit for $1.25 the 2 years after the deal expires. So for the next 2, you're saving $2.75 and $2.25, and then you're getting docked $1.25 the following couple of years. Now, a reason why I don't really think that makes a lot of sense is because the Islanders, according to Arthur Staple, received some calls on JG Pageau at the trade deadline, and at the time, the New York Islanders did not want to move on. Now, I think the Islanders should look to trade JG Pageau. I think they need to trade probably 2 of these 4 names: JG Pageau, Anders Lee, Kyle Palmieri, and Brock Nelson. Those are your 4 most movable forwards. So pick 2 of those guys. You have JG Pageau and Anders Lee have 2 more years remaining on their deal. Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri have 1 more year remaining before they're unrestricted free agents. So you can mix and match. You could do it however you want, but I think pick 2. Maybe you're extending one of them, like Brock Nelson, maybe, or maybe you sell off when his value is the highest. Like that's probably a debate for a whole nother video. But focusing on JG Pageau, you should be able to move that $5 million off the book and get something. Now, I'm not saying you're getting a first or second round pick this year for JG Pageau, but can you get a 2025 mid-round pick? Can you get a 5th round pick for JG Pageau in this draft? I would think yes. I think someone would give up that in order to land Pageau, who I think is a solid defensive player still. Unfortunately, the offense has gone away the last 2 years. More specifically, this past season really was not a good offensive year at all for Pageau, but he's still a good penalty killer. He's still, good on on special teams in general. Face-off guy, shut down, defensive style center. For a team that has to reach the cap floor, Utah, Anaheim, San Jose, teams like that, acquiring Pageau for pennies on the dollar might end up being the move. Also, you have to look into as well, Lou has never bought anyone out. He's been here since 2018 and has not bought a single player out, but he has made trades to dump salary cap. He's done a lot of them. So, Josh Bailey and a 2026 second for future considerations. Bailey had 1 more year left on his deal. Johnny Boychuk for future considerations, 1 year, $6 million left. Andrew Ladd, 2 seconds and a third for future considerations. That one was probably the worst case scenario because he had 2 more years at $5.5 million and was just like unplayable. JG Pageau is not unplayable. He belongs on an NHL team. He's overpaid, and if you're a team that wants to create cap space, you got to move off a guy like Pageau. But like with Ladd, was unplayable. Nick Leddy, he traded for a second, and Leddy had 1 year at $5.5 million, and then obviously if you want to include Devon Toews in there, technically a cap dump, even though he was an RFA at the time. He got 2 second-round picks for Devon Toews, but again here, when looking at it, like there's many examples that I just listed off, and to me, the better examples are Bailey and Nick Leddy. Somewhere in between. I don't think it's going to be an Andrew Ladd situation where you're attaching multiple picks. Leddy is probably asking too much, like for a return of a second, but I think you can get, we'll call it a mid-round pick in the draft, or like middle of the road prospect. Like it's a cap dump for the Islanders, but for a team trying to reach the cap floor, you're getting someone who could play. It's not a dead contract. The team's not, acquiring someone who's not going to play for you. Pageau can play. The same thing, make the case for Anders Lee at this point. I'm not saying you're getting a ton for either of those two guys, but I do think you should be able to trade them rather than having to resort to a buyout. Buyout window, you have until June 30th at 5 p.m. to buy someone out. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary. Catch you guys next time.
If you like that, make sure to subscribe to Up the Turnpike on Patreon for more exclusive New York Islanders content.